Chaps, final rugby point here, the Australian head coach position. I don't know if you were surprised or not that Mackenzie, apparently he sent his resignation letter before the test match against the All Blacks, so win or lose, he was out of there. Jake White's in the running, Michael Cheika in the running, but it looks like Michael Cheika might get it.
Probably. I think that they'll go for a sort of, someone who's, produced something of real merit in the Australian system. When your national team is struggling and yet you have a team winning Super Rugby like the Waratahs did, you've got to think that Cheika is going to come into the reckoning because of his intimate knowledge of the sort of the nucleus in many ways of the Wallaby squad. That would make him a favourite. Jake is always a little bit of a risk because you're never quite sure how long he'll actually, stick to the terms of his contract. Having said that, of course, he is always a good, and Tank and I were discussing this before, and Tank made the point that he is a sort of a good sort of short-term guy. He comes in and if you give him just a year to a World Cup or something, he's the sort of guy who can make things happen pretty quickly. So I don't think he can be completely discounted. But in terms of your question about Ewan Mackenzie, I wasn't particularly surprised because when you get I just feel as if a certain sort of pollution has taken place, if you like, in the Wallaby squad with this whole, the rumours about that, he had to deny having had a relationship with that member of the team squad and so on. And then there was, Kurtley Beale, the sort of eternal bad egg of Australian rugby coming back into the mix again, and he'll have his sort of his supporters and his detractors even within the sort of squad ethic. So you just sense that there was a little bit of a new unhappiness perhaps building there, and maybe Mackenzie did the right thing, did the honourable thing in many ways by stepping on his sword. It was almost as if he kind of took them perhaps more sideways than up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Tank. How would that have looked had the Wallabies beaten the All Blacks?
Yeah, it looked a whole lot better. But to his credit, he was going to resign
either way. Well, that's what I mean.
But I enjoyed what John Mitchell had to say on Twitter over the weekend. Is that, he just absolutely and utterly believes that he hasn't been supported by the union, and so this is a coach who's standing by his principles. Well, let's take those as they come, and saying, listen, if you're not going to support me, I'm out of here, because there's a lot of pro-Beale sort of happenings and statements, especially from the captain, Hooper. So I think he's taken a stand. Whatever's gone before, the union then has to make a call. Like, are we going to back the coach? Or are we going to back this player who's a perennial naughty guy? Look, I don't think Mackenzie's been a saint. I think pollution is a great word from Rob. And perhaps there almost was no other way out. But one does feel for Mackenzie, feel that the union haven't really backed him on this. And already there's stories about that Pulver that this year has been speaking to other coaches before this game. So, it just sounds a fairly untidy affair. It'll be interesting to see what happens now.
We are with less than a year to go to the World Cup. Cheika obviously got his work cut out for him.
Yes. They still struggle for real grunt in their pack. I think that's the big thing with Australia is that as things stand, I think even some of the Northern Hemisphere teams with some of their sort of big scrummaging ethics and the big preoccupation with sort of a forward-dominated game will be thinking, we can take this Wallaby pack, and if we can take the Wallaby pack, maybe we can take the Wallabies too. They're still obviously in the top three on the world rankings, but I think there will be certain Northern Hemisphere teams thinking that if there's one of those top three who are sort of vulnerable, perhaps at the World Cup in English conditions, then it probably would be Australia. So it does look a little bit ominous for them. I suppose the one positive they will take is, look, we came within a whisker of beating New Zealand. Admittedly, in a slightly dead rubber game. I hate these late sort of after the fact Bledisloe games where everybody's a bit tired and washed up, and we've seen enough huckers for a year. That's to be taken into account as well. But it's difficult to see Australia suddenly turning things around in time to be serious World Cup challengers.